So what if every player in the NBA right now was in their prime? How is that going to impact the current NBA? And which NBA team is going to win a ring? Alright, so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing today. I put everyone in the NBA in their prime. So everyone's going to be at their max overall. All the older players are going to be great again in their prime. Teams are going to be extremely different in terms of talent. And most importantly, let's see who wins the MVP amongst all these great players. Before we begin, I would really appreciate it if you guys drop a like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers. So make sure you're hitting that subscribe button to see more videos. Now enough with the intro, and without any further ado, let's get this video started. So to begin with, I'm going to run through some of the rotations that we're going to be seeing today. Philly is one heck of a team with prime Lowry, Paul George, Drummond with Embiid. That's disgusting. Milwaukee with prime Dame and prime Giannis. It speaks for itself. Now the Celtics look like a super team even more, man. Just look at this rotation in their prime. Like how do you even stop this? Now the most interesting team in my opinion is the Clippers. Prime Simmons alongside Harden and Kawhi. Prime Nicholas Batum. You also got Zubac and Powell in their prime right now. Some other notable teams, of course, the Lakers with prime Luka and prime LeBron. The Mavs with prime Kyrie, Thompson, and Anthony Davis. The Nuggets with prime Brody, Jokic, and DeAndre Jordan. The Spurs with prime CP3 alongside Wemby. You also have prime Harrison Barnes. Obviously, the Suns with the big three again. The Timberwolves have prime Mike Conley and prime Rudy Gobert. The Timberwolves have prime Mike Conley and prime Rudy Gobert. And finally, the Warriors will prime Curry, prime Butler, and prime Draymond Green. All these teams are great, but let's see who comes out on top. Obviously, as per every video, I'm turning injuries off, simulator difficulties up to 75, and trade logic is also off. And whilst we sim the first couple games, you let me know who's going to win the MVP. Because amongst all these great players in their prime, like Russ, LeBron, KD, all of them, Curry, Luka ends up winning the MVP, averaging 33, 10 and 10, almost 10, 9.5, but technically 10 and 10. And with players in their prime like Draymond Green, Kawhi Leonard, Rudy Gobert, Wemby ends up winning DPOY, averaging 3 blocks a game. Now your All-NBA first team selection, obviously Luka. You also have SGA, Russell Westbrook, Victor Wembanyama, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Look, you want to see Brody's averages. 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists when he's playing with Jokic. He's playing alongside Jokic, bro. And for your All-NBA second team, you have Jarwick, LaMelo Ball, Jokic, Trae Young, and Anthony Edwards. And Jokic averaged 23, 8, and 9. Pretty much the same as Russ. And finally, for your All-NBA third team, you have LeBron, Tyrese, Joel Embiid, Cade, and Darius Garland. Darius Garland, though, that's a good shout. Now, your All-NBA first team is Wemby, Giannis, Dyson Daniels, Rudy Gobert, and Evan Mobley. And the second team is Claxton, Green, Bam, LeBron, and SGA. You didn't see Kawhi in here. Wow. And here's the standings. Minnesota topped the West, so 61 and 21, pretty much the same as the Clippers. The Mavericks were third. The Kings came fourth. Denver at 5. You have the Warriors, the Spurs, the Lakers, OKC, and finally Houston in the play-in. I really am interested in the Clippers to see what the players averaged. So James averaged 19 and 10 on brilliant efficiency. Ben Simmons averaged 12, 8 and 7. That was actually like almost his prime numbers. And then Kawhi averaged 24 and 5. Even Norman Powell averaged 20 points. This team is crazy, I'm telling you. In the East, of course, Philly tops the East. Only 51 wins though. The Knicks right behind them at 50 wins. Boston at 48. I'm disappointed. The Hawks at 47. Prime Trae Young is... The Bucks at 5. That's also really disappointing. The Pacers at 6. Toronto at 7. The Bulls at 8. The Nets at 9. That's D'Lo and Cam Thomas right there. And then finally, the Cavs at 10. They can't hack primetime players. Here's your league leading scorers. SGA tops it at 36.6. You see with this list, I'm not going to read it out. You guys can obviously see it, but there's not a lot of the prime players that we added. There's no Russ, there's no Harden, there's no LeBron, no KD, no Kawhi. Like none of the players we added. Obviously, Thompson is the only one that's there. No Kyrie, no AD. This is disappointing. Now, moving on to the play-in, the Lakers beat the Spurs and OKC beat Houston. I'm not going to sim the final game yet. I'm going to go to the East. In the East, Toronto beat the Bulls. And as per the Nets and the Cavs, the Nets win. So the Cavs are out of the playoffs completely. Thanks to primetime D'Lo averaging 22 points and 7 assists. Yo, Nets D'Lo was a different beast, man. He was an all-star that year. And for the final playing game in the West, Spurs and OKC, prime CP3 and Wemby against the MVP of this year. And the Spurs come out on top. Obviously, when you have prime CP3, you're never going to afford a free throw match, let's be real. And as for the Bulls and the Nets, the Bulls come out on top. They have what? Prime Vucevic, prime Lonzo. And now that the play-in is finished, I'm going to simulate the playoffs, and obviously we'll discuss the winning teams after the first round. Like, this is what I mean, man. Now I'm really pissed off because the Bulls beat Philly in 4. This would never happen in any type of scenario. 2K really does mess up some simulations sometimes. And all this hard work that I've put in for this simulation really is just going to go out the window because of 2K, man. The Bulls will never beat Philly in 4. That's ridiculous. They have primetime players all across the board. Now, moving on, once again, this is not as bad, but again, this would never happen in real life. Like, the Atlanta Hawks beat the Bucks in 5. They have prime Giannis and prime Dame and prime Brook Lopez. Like, just think about it, bro. Trae Young is not beating all of that. Now, as per the Celtics and the Pacers, the Celtics come out on top in 7. That series must have been the best series so far. 7 games. Both teams are really good, but the Celtics are just too good, man. And finally, New York beat Toronto in 5. Not really much to talk about. New York are just miles better. Now, moving on to the West, the Spurs fall in 6 to the Timberwolves. Prime CP3 and Wemby are out of the playoffs in the first round. Next, the Denver Nuggets barely beat the Kings in 7. Why did the Kings take them to 7? I don't know. Prime DeMar DeRozan, prime Sabonis, prime Zach LaVine. But the Nuggets come out on top in 7. The Mavs beat the Warriors in 6. The Warriors, as good as they are, the Mavs are too stacked, man. And finally, this is the most surprising one of all, obviously beside the Chicago Bulls one. The Clippers sweep the Lakers. Prime LeBron and Luka could not do it, man. I'm not gonna lie, the Clippers are just different. The Clippers are just on a different level. Now, let's see what happens after simming the second round of the playoffs. This is getting interesting now, eh? Now, this time around, I'm going to start in the West. As you can see, the Denver Nuggets beat the Timberwolves in 7. The Denver Nuggets are just beating everybody in 7s. Again, Denver is different. Brody and Jokic, and you also have an elite cast around them. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, DeAndre Jordan. There's a lot of good players. Even Dario Saric. Next, the second series in the second round also went to 7 games, but this time around, the Clippers beat the Mavericks in 7. The Clippers, bro, I'm telling you, these two teams were really good, and I'm not going to lie, going to 7 really makes the most sense. You have Kyrie, AD, and Klay on one side. On the other side, you have Kawhi, Ben Simmons, James Harden, and an elite cast around them as well. I'm really interested in seeing what each player on that Clippers team is averaging in the playoffs. So Kawhi so far is averaging 29 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. James Harden is averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 flipping assists. That's ridiculous. Bogey's averaging 13 points on very good efficiency. Big Norman Powell is averaging 22 points. Alongside all of these stars, he's still putting up 22 points a game. And finally, the moment or the player I've been waiting for the most, Ben Simmons is putting up 10 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. I'm not gonna lie, guys. This is pretty close to his prime numbers, so I'm not even mad, but the fact that he's putting up those type of numbers, we forget how good Ben Simmons was, man. Now, enough of the West. Moving on to the East, the Hawks beat the Chicago Bulls in 7. I'm not even gonna commentate on that series, whatever. The other series I'm really interested in, the Boston Celtics versus the Knicks, and the Celtics come out on top in 7 games. Yes, sir. The Knicks can't hold the Celtics, bro. Never. They will never beat the Celtics. Let's be real. Only reason they beat him this year is because JT went down, and we all know this. Now, moving on to the conference finals, I'm going to simulate it again, and then we'll discuss it right after. We don't have to because we already see who made it. Now, in the East, really quickly, the Celtics swept the Hawks. I'm expecting that all day long, so we're going to move on to the West because that one was a given. This is the series I was waiting for the most, and I was the most excited about. The Clippers versus the Nuggets. It goes to 7 again. The Denver Nuggets have been going to 7 games literally every series they've been to. To be honest, although the Nuggets were really strong and, you know, it's Russ and Jokic, I had my money on the Clippers because they have an insane team, but they fall in 7, mainly because Kawhi did choke in Game 7. No one really played well in Game 7 outside of James Harden, which is surprising. On the other hand, the Nuggets had pretty much the exact opposite. Although Russell Westbrook shot 5 for 18, everybody ate on that team. As you can see, 6 double-digit scorers. This team is really complete. So the final matchups is now set. The Celtics versus the Nuggets. I'm gonna sim a game at a time so we can check the stats after. The Nuggets take game 1 at home. I think they had the better record in the regular season, but they won game 1 by almost 30 points. That's a lot of points on the Celtics. Now moving on to game 2, the Nuggets come out on top once again, and once again winning by 30 plus points. Russ was 16 and 17 assists. Murray has been balling all series long and the playoffs in general, and Jokic was also doing his thing with 28 points. Michael Porter Jr. 12 rebounds. Look at the scoring, it's so spread out. I know I haven't been showing the box scores for the Celtics. It's literally been Jason Tatum dropping 30 points and everybody else doing absolutely nothing. Now moving on to game 3, can the Celtics take at least 1 game at home? And they do indeed. JB and JT for 33 each. This is what you need. You need JB to step up. He hasn't been doing great so far. Peyton Pritchard 24, KP 12 points on 4 for 12 is atrocious. Drew Holiday has been horrible all playoff long. Even Al Horford hasn't been doing that great either. Now this is a must-win game game for the Celtics because if they lose, they go down 3-1, and you don't want to be in that situation in the finals. But if you're the Nuggets, you would be buzzing up 3-1, and you are going to be buzzing. The same story for the Celtics once again. JT 35 points, everybody else not so great. JB nowhere to be found in this game. Payton Pritchard has been the only one that's really doing that great. KP has been atrocious all playoff long. Al Horford hasn't been shooting the ball. Drew Holiday has been so inefficient. Jaylen Brown is very inconsistent. The only one that's consistently putting up points is Jason Tatum, and that's not enough against the Brody and Jokic. And that's me not mentioning that Jamal Murray has been so great for them. Look at Brody, 22-point triple-double. Jokic almost had a 25-point triple-double alongside of that. Now for game 5, I'm going to simcast it just in case it's a close game or it's a blowout. I'm going to jump in regardless just to see the celebration or to see if it's a close game. And surprisingly, the Celtics are coming to play in game 5. They're up 20 points. Can they hold onto that lead? No, they can't. The Nuggets come back and take the lead with 44 seconds to go. I'm jumping in. 42 seconds to go. The ball is in JB's hands. Surprisingly, not JT. JT's not on the court. JB drives to his right, misses the layup. Jokic with the rebound. Goes over on the other end, passes the ball to Brody for his mid-range signature midi buckets. So they're now up 3 with 30 seconds to go. Is this GG's? So it's now JB once again on the other hand. He needs to convert. Christian Brown is guarding him. He drives onto his left and does convert. So now it's a 1-point game. Brody got fouled on the other end. Because it was a 1-point game, he makes his first free throw but does miss the second one. So he's given the chance for the Celtics to come back. Brody has never been the greatest at the free throw line. We all know this. Once again, the ball's in JB's hand. This time around, JT's on the court, but JB's taking the final shot. He cooks Christian Brown and goes for the dunk. Yo, JB's cooking. So now it's a tie game with 5 seconds to go. Brody does get to his spot, shoots, but misses the shot. We're going into overtime. And I'm not gonna lie, I did some overtime because this would take ages if we watched the whole of overtime. And the Celtics come out on top very tightly. They win it 155 to 152. I couldn't even jump in because it was so quick. And the stats are gonna look crazy. It did go to overtime. Jamal Murray with 41 points. Sorry about my voice. Jokic with 36, 12 and 15. A 36-point triple-double on great efficiency. Russell Westbrook 35 and 19 assists. Bro, what are these stats? On the other hand, again, Jason Tatum continues to be great. 47 points and 10 rebounds. Jaylen Brown was doing really well in the fourth quarter. 34 points. Kristaps Porzingis finally shows up with 26, but I think this was an anomaly. I'm not so convinced by the Celtics. I don't know where it is, man. I just feel like the Nuggets are just miles better. And right here, guys, I end up simming. Oh my God. I end up simming it like that by accident. I was meant to simcast it, but nevertheless, the Nuggets win game 6. They end the series in 6 games. Russell Westbrook is your finals MVP. I'm gonna read out his stats, but I'm really disappointed, bro. I wanted to simcast. I was hoping for a game 7. But before we read out the box scores, we have to give credit where credit is due. Russell Westbrook, your finals MVP, averaged 26.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 14 assists. Damn near 26-point triple-double. Well flipping deserved. And once again, I keep repeating, Jason Tatum's consistency has been insane throughout his playoffs and the finals. 42 points. He averaged 31 points on the whole playoffs run. Oh, look at his efficiency, bro. He has been insane. That's MVP numbers. But again, the story repeats itself. No one really showed out. Although you see people scoring, it's just not enough. You're playing in 2 MVPs with a great cast on the other side. You need to step up. 19 points for KP. Only 15 points for JB in elimination game. Horford stepped up with 14 and 16. But look at his efficiency. Payton Pritchard didn't play that great. Derek White scored 0 points, 0 for 7. Drew Holiday was just horrid. He has been atrocious all playoff long. I'm not even gonna comment. Like, this is disappointing. On the other side, you just see greatness. Brody with 34-point triple-double. Jokic with a 33-point, almost a triple-double. Murray again, 20 points. That's all you need. You just need him to drop 20 points. It's just miles better. It's well deserved. But there you have it, guys. If every player in the NBA was in their prime, the best team would be the Nuggets. It's not surprising. They got amazing players. Prime Russ and Prime Jokic is unthinkable. But please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video, and shout me if you have any other ideas that are similar. I'd love to use them for future videos. I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and if you did, I'd really appreciate if you drop a like and subscribe for future videos so you can stay updated on the channel. We're very so close to 1,000 subscribers, and that is the main objective right now. But in the meantime, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.